Okay, kids, welcome to part 5 of our Repair-A-Thon. Today we got our shipment from Janeco Electronics in Belmont, California. No, they don't pay me to say that, but quite frankly, they have good prices on stuff for electronic repair guys and small fry hobbyists, and they're not crazy on pricing. Okay, we're not going to insult the mega distributors that everybody knows about, like DigiKey and Mauser. However, if you're buying in small potato lots, you get killed. Okay, so we have the 470, the 220, and the 2000 to change here. And you'll get to see the visual size difference here. That's the 470. That's there. That's a 470 35 volt, and this is also a 470 35 volt. Yeah, I think they've gotten more efficient in making these in the later years. So we're going to change these last three, put the amp back together, fire it up, and see what it sounds like. Alright, so that should finish it up. I got creative since the original filter cap was really big in diameter. I wrapped electrical tape around our replacement, which is actually, the original was a 2000 mic 50 volt, and this is a 2200 mic 80 volt, so it's beefier in every way. I just wrapped electrical tape around it so it fits snugly into the holster there. So that seemed to work. And I also did find the death cap. I was asking, earlier, so where the heck's the death cap? Well, the death cap is actually hiding right here next to the switch, the on-off switch. That was a popular place that Gibson liked to hide them. And essentially it actually goes from the hot lead of the switch to the like the body of the potentiometer to create that ground. And since we will not be using the death cap now that we have a 3-prong power cord, I did not pull it out of the board. I just removed the leg that goes to the switch. So the leg is contacting nothing. It isn't in any proximity that it's going to contact anything. So there you go. It's just disconnected. So at this point we put it back together, we turn it on, it should work just fine. But if we made some kind of glorious, horrible mistake, we may have fireworks, but I don't think so. I try to do these capacitors one at a time and give myself a visual cue. Now, a lot of times I'll put a dot on the circuit board, to remind me of where the positive was, but I was able to work without distractions, and, I think we're going to be fine. Okay, so we're looking at the back of the amp. I still have it open, and I did plug it in, so I figured if we're going to see any cool explosions, it'll happen now. We're going to turn that on. And that's quite a bit of hum. It's like a low filter cap hum. Interesting. Okay. So I have a good amount of low filter cap hum. Let's unplug real quick. Was that death cap actually really doing something? Really? Maybe it was. We're just going to check any of our caps that we changed for heat, because if there was any ridiculous amount of heat, that would indicate that we put it in backwards like a silly. Nope, they're all cold. So that's good. Let's try our ground loop device, see if that helps. Okay, I found it. It wasn't anything that we did internally on this amplifier. The amplifier itself did not make a bunch of noise when A, the death cap was in there, and B, the ground did not exist. applying the earth ground caused the noise to increase. Well, I thought about it for a while. I actually did phone a friend and got a little bit of advice that may or maybe didn't help. It kind of didn't in the end. Sorry about that. But that's okay. I did get to a good solution. I thought about it for a while and where they put death caps in circuits and the potential, because with a two-prong cord, there's like 30-some volts of AC potential on there. So, you know, this is one of those things that would zap you if you got too close to a microphone. We can't have that. So I thought about a lot of the old AA5 radios and two-prong cord things, and the two-prong cord was never polarized. You could just plug it in one way or the other way. And if it made too much noise, you were supposed to flip it. Well, maybe, perhaps, when they designed this amp, they were intending for the switch to actually run on the neutral rather than on the hot wire. So just working off of that premises, I switched the neutral and the hot coming in from my mains plug. And I turned it on and it still hummed, but then taking the ground lug from the green third prong and putting that to the chassis stopped the hum. So that's the difference. When I had these reversed, when I had the hot and the common reversed, applying the ground lead would increase the hum, and flipping them this way, this decreases the hum. So now I'm happy. I do have an earth ground, I do have a quiet amp. Now I can put the back on it, we'll do our little sound demo and call it a victory. Yeah, that was interesting. I learned something, and I just tried to keep my cool. I said, let's test this, that, and the other thing. And in the end, as a victory token, I did, instead of just having it disconnected, I pulled the death cap out of there, and I'm going to throw it in the bag with the other dead animals. Okay, I have the amp at a moderate volume. It does not hum, which is great. It kind of hisses a little bit when I have the treble turned up, but that's not anything that any other amp that's working properly doesn't do. If anything, it's a Gibson, so it's going to be on the bright side because they expect that your pickups are Gibson, which would be darker, right? Let's feed this thing some signal. What a pretty reverb, huh? Let's roll our treble back a little bit. That's a little much. There we go, both pickups. Sounds really pretty. I'm liking this already. That's pretty groovy. And we'll turn the reverb down a little bit, and we'll turn our tremolo low up to half here. There we go. On the slowest speed, it doesn't seem to kick in. It kicks in real soft. There it is. My guess is on the intensity knob they probably should have used a different like instead of, I don't know if they've got a linear or an audio in there, but a lot of times I think they do, is it reverse audio taper? Reverse audio taper for them? Because it seems like the intensity is super subtle and then it just kicks in like a truck when you get in past half. And that's not a fault of the amp being broken, that's just the nature of that pod. reverb, man. That surfs, doesn't it? That probably is enough to get me some stupid copyright strike, but I think that's actually the wrong key. So maybe it'll skip. I don't know. Do I really care? I didn't monetize this channel in the first place. So this amp I'm actually having fun with it. This one actually brought a smile to my face. Go figure. Maybe it's because I had to fight with it a little bit more, but I like the brightness and the crispness. I mean, I am using a Gibson guitar here. There you go. And I'm not going to sit here and say mean things about Gibson, because I know they're a factory and they make guitars out of wood, and not every one of them is going to be perfect. Especially the more detail and the more complexity you add, the more room for goof-ups you have. And I have a number of Gibson guitars. I'll just tell you my Gibson guitar story very briefly. I have a number of Gibson guitars. A few of them have had warranty repairs on them, but they were handled promptly by good people who made the issue right. So, there you go. Oh, listen to that drippy, surfy reverb, man. That's so cool. Okay, no more playing. We have 2 Traynors to recap, and then we can be happy. Okay, so welcome to recapping the Traynor part 1. I already did start without you all. I changed these to 22 microfarad, 25 volters there. And then there's a 1 microfarad over here. I believe these two are 100s. I have to double check again. 25 volt 100 mic. So these are radials. That's kind of different. And then we have the 2 main filter caps. And I did already clean the controls on Traynor number 1. And then we'll go back and do the same thing to the other one. Fun, fun. Okay, so we got that recapped. 22, 25, 125, 125, 22, 25. It's kind of weird that there's 22 25s in axial, and then there's one in radial. Go figure. 1 microfarad, I think that's 50 volts or 65 volts or something like that. And then our filter caps are 2200, 25 volts. Okay, so I have not yet tested the Traynor beyond turning it on, but I think things are looking pretty bright for us. So I've got our master volume at half, I got the reverb at half, I've got the treble at half and the bass at half, and the gain pot here and the main volume pot there, I got that at 0. But yet I still get sound? What? Oh yeah, well apparently this amp is just potentially loud as heck. So, okay. Let's try the low input. Got reverb, we can give it more reverb. Reverb works, but that one doesn't surf. That's okay. Doesn't have to, not everything has to surf. Let's turn our master like way down to, I don't know, 2. Let's just dial up our gain to the gills and see if we get a distortion tone. solid state distortion tone. I think that's probably usable in some lot or another. And we have another amp just like this that we need to go over. The hiss, the treble hiss is kind of normal for these. There's a little bit of that, but the real low hum that we were getting from the filter caps is nearly gone. Nearly gone. There's still just a tiny bit there, but not enough to count. Okay, so don't change your channel or whatever. This is actually another one of these Traynor TS20s. This one's a little bit happier shape, a little bit less hum. The grill cloth's in a little bit better shape. Still needs a bath, but we're going to go through and do the same thing to this one. This might be a little bit different era. The screws on the top of the chassis are a bit different, but it should be pretty much the same, so I don't know if we need to film this twice, but if there's anything interesting in the process, we'll go over that. Well, same model or not, this one's different. Those still line up. I think for the 0.1 they use this tropical fish. I'm assuming this is the 22s under here, but this one's underneath the pot, and these are way different pots, these crazy looking spider pots. That's kind of a drag. This one's going to be a little trickier to get into. And then our filter capacitors are axials. Although looking at the bottom of the board, this plausibly we could put radials in it anyway. They seem to have cut it for either or. I kind of have more radials than axials, so I may just do that because it'll all fit the same. Okay, well, this should be pretty straightforward, I think, except for trying to access that capacitor that lives beneath the big spider potentiometer. Okay, here we go. Okay, that should accomplish recapping the board and changing the parts. There were a few capacitors in there that I swear had like no markings on them. So I used my memory from the other amplifier and just tried to remember what value was in that spot. Like over here, that was a 22 on the other one. Of course, it was running a different direction, but it's a 22 over there. And this one that came out of here, this blue thing, which the other ones were blue things too. Just, you know, you can't read it. You know, I know it's made in Mexico. That's all I can tell you. So this one was a little trickier. This did have the holes for the radial caps as opposed to the axials that were in there, so I was able to switch that over. I mean, I think we're fine. I don't think anything's going to blow up in my face, but you never know. So let's put it back together. Okay. So here's our second Traynor TS20, the older one of the two. And seems like our cap job went fine. Nothing exploded. Nothing bad is happening. It's got a little bit of low-level 60 hertz hum. I mean, a little bit, but it's really insignificant compared to the volume it puts out. I mean, you got to put your ear up to the speaker. I mean, it's loud, boss. Listen to that gain. I only got the master at 5 and the volume at 2. So this amp is loud. There's definitely some differences. Yeah, it's working fine now. That thing is loud. My gosh, I've got the master volume I think at 5 or 6 and the gain volume on like 2.5, and I'm on the low gain channel. This is a loud little puppy. That's a very efficient speaker. I'm impressed. Alright, so this completes this round of this week or this round of Repair-A-Thon. This week we had the custom keyboard amp, the Budokan Yamaha amp. These two Traynor TS20s, the Gibson GA20, and the Crown stereo PA amp. And what was my favorite? Oh, and the Bandmaster. We had the Fender Bandmaster. So we had 7 things. What was my favorite amp out of the group? I'm gonna say the Gibson because I like the surfy reverb. But no hate to anything else. For what these are, these Traynors have a lot of volume, very usable. I mean, high volume, low noise, cool. The Crown amp sounded great when I had it plugged into my speakers. I don't know why they thought it was broken. The custom keyboard amp is now ready to go amplify some keyboards. You know, this is just a win all around. So, good round on the Repair-A-Thon, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.